when we first started this podcast, obviously no one had an opinion yet. There was no podcast yet, but we had been recording for a long time, right? So I knew what I wanted to do with this podcast. I knew who I wanted to be. But as soon as that first one released, we got a lot of opinions. And that's when I realized that I actually do care about the opinions of others. I actually do care. Because it felt like I was being dragged in every direction. And then when they all went away, I didn't know what to do. Welcome back to Perspective TV, the talk show that discusses the highs and lows and everything in between. As promised, today is part 2 of how well do you know yourself.
But we're going to do things a little bit differently this time.
Excuse me?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Last video, you said that you were going to ask me 3 more questions on part 2.
Yes.
We're not doing that. I have 3 questions. I'm going to ask you 3 questions, and you got to give the answer on the spot to the people in front of this camera right now.
Okay.
And you got to be honest and truthful. And you have no idea what these questions are. And they're nothing like the questions you previously devised.
Okay. My heart's racing, but let's do this.
Let's see how well Hasna knows herself.
Yeah, let's see.
Okay?
Okay.
You ready?
Uh-huh.
Can you pinpoint 1 or 2 things that are holding you back from reaching your highest potential in this stage of your life? What's holding you back from your highest potential in this stage of your life?
Fully immersing myself into my feminine energy. Fully immersing into that. And the reason why I say that is because I'm in constant battle with myself.
Okay.
And I know in order to be the person that I envision myself to be, I must fully immerse myself in my feminine energy. I must allow myself to feel, to be honest with myself, to do the things that I feel called to do, and I haven't been doing them because it requires me to slow down. And I'm honestly afraid of slowing down because I've adopted that hustle mindset. And that hustle mindset is actually a wounded masculine, meaning that's the wounded masculine within me. Because the feminine side is to flow, to slow down, to understand emotions, not act, force. And what that looks like for me is sometimes when I feel called to take a break, I must take a break to fully absorb the wisdom that the universe, God, is trying to give me.
Wow.
And that's where my power lies. And I'm aware of it, but I'm afraid.
Afraid of what?
I'm afraid of letting go of this hustle mindset.
Why?
Because that's what this world has come to, and that's what this world's all about. Hustling. You got to do, go. And when you slow down, it like I'm shaking because it's my truth. It's when you slow down, it feels like almost everyone around you is moving a lot faster than you.
And you feel like the odd one out.
Exactly. And it's not logical. The process of fully immersing myself into my feminine energy is not logical at all. It's going to look crazy. It's going to look scary to most people. Not scary, I'm sorry. But like I've lost my mind.
Yeah.
Because I understand all that I embody, all the emotions, and sometimes it's intense. And so I must let go of that hustle mindset and caring about what others think. Those are the 2 things that are holding me back.
That was heavy.
Yeah, and
let this be a message to both men and women, actually, because I think what you just said is a really good point. Because you're called to stop and listen. Mm-hmm. You're called to stop and be intuitive and see where your spirit is guiding you. But this world is not constructed that way, is it?
No.
And you're saying that your biggest obstacle right now is actually listening to that voice inside of you.
Yes, and that's exactly why I tailored last week's or the last video to being present, what triggers you, and how often you deceive yourself. Because I'm not present, because I'm triggered and I'm not listening to my triggers, or I'm deceiving myself, I'm not able to fully tap into my power. And so that's why I asked those questions. I know last week was about Michael, but I had my own personal reasons, and I found that, like, for example, with his question right now, it all comes down to how present are you to really listen to yourself? How often are you triggered? And how do you understand that your triggers are actually a message for you to grow? So when I feel triggered, when I'm trying to hustle and then I feel like I need to stop, but then I'm triggered, like it's this kind of, like I said in the last episode, that resistance. Yeah. It's trying to tell me something. It's trying to tell me, Hasna, you're forcing yourself through something. You must slow down. But I choose not to listen to them. That's why I said, how aware are you?
Wow.
To be aware and to actually act on something is two different things. But in order to get to know yourself, you must at least be aware first.
I think that was a phenomenal answer. Mm-hmm. Clearly, you've reflected on that. Let's move on.
Yes, and it's scary. Like right now, my heart's racing and my stomach is.
The truth usually does that too sometimes.
Because I know where I need to go, but I'm not doing it yet. So, all right, let's move on.
Do you have a vivid image of who you could be if you did the things your intuition calls you towards?
I do. And that's only because it's been heavy on my mind. And the image of who I could be if I just practice all the things that I know in my gut that I need to do.
Yeah.
I see myself as a very free person.
Yeah.
Very free flowing, very open hearted and accepting towards everything. Because although things in life can hurt us, manipulate us, grab us towards like certain, things that are not right for us. Mm-hmm. I know that the person I vision myself to be can feel all those emotions, but also let them pass without affecting her.
You didn't sneak into my phone and prepare for these answers?
No, it's just honestly, I've really been reflecting on this a lot, so it's funny that you asked me these questions. In order to be that person, I must slow down, and that person is a very accepting person of all of her emotions, all of the things that life throw at her. No matter what. I'm not saying that I'm going to be accepting and like loving and whatever all the time. No, I'm going to still be crazy. But I'm going to work through it with the tools that I know.
Yeah.
I'm going to exercise these things on a daily basis. That's who I see. Like
the dancing and stomping that you post on your story sometimes, that's one of your tools that you mentioned.
And I need to do that, and I need to be
your meditation,
willing to let the world see that. And sometimes I feel crazy. Sometimes I feel like, does anyone really understand?
Yeah.
But anyways, I think that's my answer. That's who I envision myself to be. Free.
Authentically you.
Yes, authentically me and free, and
doing the things you know
unapologetically me.
Exactly. Doing the things you know in your spirit that you should be doing on a daily basis to feed your spirit.
Exactly.
Being true to yourself. I love that. Okay. Last question. How often do the words or opinions of others impact how you feel about yourself?
Wow. I find that a lot of times I don't want to be honest with myself when it comes to that question, because I ask myself that question often.
Do you?
Yes. Because when we first started this podcast, obviously no one had an opinion yet. There was no podcast yet, but we had been recording for a long time. right? So I knew what I wanted to do with this podcast. I knew who I wanted to be. But as soon as that first one released, we got a lot of opinions. And that's when I realized that I actually do care about the opinions of others. I actually do care. Because it felt like I was being dragged in every direction. And then when they all went away, I didn't know what to do. Like I remember talking to Michael and saying, well, I wanted to do this, but then this person's saying that, and then this person's saying this, and what do? I don't know what to do. And then I get on the podcast, and sometimes I don't even make sense because I'm literally being pulled. Like my mind wants to go here, but then I say this.
Yeah.
And it does affect me. It does. And the person I envision myself to be, the reason why I said free is because that person does not care about the opinion of others.
Right.
She's unapologetically her. She understands the wisdom that she embodies, and she understands she knows nothing at all. So she is accepting of all things, including herself and others, and the things that get thrown at her. And so I think another question should be that, like, what are your action towards this? Like, sure, you have from last week's episode and this week's episode, what are the actions you're going to take? Because sure, we can throw these questions at you. I've asked myself all of these questions, and sure, reflecting helps and being aware helps, but the second step is action.
Okay.
And the action that I'm going to take.
Yeah, I want to hear about those. What are you going to do? What are things you need to do?
So for me, it all starts with sleeping and waking up at the same time every day.
Why?
Because of the circadian rhythm.
Okay.
Understanding that that's how our bodies operate. When you're given the same amount of sleep every single day and you sleep and wake up at the same time, mentally and your mood is just stable.
Yeah.
I mean, that's if nothing happens throughout the day, but just from that.
Yeah.
That's number one. And I always believe that's the first step, because let's say I'm on 4 hours of sleep today and 6 tomorrow. I'm not operating at the level I want to.
Right.
And it starts with rest. 2, for me, that looks like journaling every morning.
What do you journal?
I journal all my emotions or even the dreams that I had, because our dreams are just our subconscious mind. And it's just projecting what we've been holding on to. So writing down my dreams, sometimes they're messages as well. Also, the way that I feel, any trapped emotion, if I've woken up on the wrong side of the bed and whatnot. Also meditating, because meditating is something, it's a great tool to help you slow down and to recognize that our thoughts they flow just like clouds. To understand that our thoughts are not us, and they're just programmed over time to think the same thing. It's a habit. Our thoughts are a habit.
Right.
And so if you think of clouds passing, those are our thoughts. And when you meditate and you really, like, you're telling yourself you're not going to think, but then you start thinking, you realize that you're really not in control. So meditation. 3 would be dancing. That's the way that I move energy. We're created to move. Our bodies are created to move. Think about an office job. When you're sitting all day long, you could sit all day long, right? But what happens at the end? You want to get up. Your body is created to literally move.
Yeah.
I mean, too much movement is not good, and too much sitting down is not good. You got to find your middle ground. So
and dance is like one
dance
of the ways.
is for me. There's other ways as well. Also, really tapping into all of the spiritual practices that I believe in, which is probably for a different episode.
Mm-hmm.
But that's what that looks like for me in the morning, and then throughout my days, I want to be as authentic as possible.
Honest.
To
yourself, to others.
Speak my truth.
Yeah.
Not be afraid to set boundaries. Not be afraid to say no. Not be afraid to say I need a break, or tell Michael, like, I can't record today. I have nothing to say. Or if I'm on here, what that looks like as well is just not speaking if I don't have anything to say. Or if I lose my train of thought saying, I forgot what I was saying. Like all of these things, that's what I need to do in order to become who I want to be. Because the only thing, the common denominator in all of that is that I'm not being true to myself. I'm not being authentic, and I'm trying to be perfect. And that's never going to happen. I can't reach that.
Right.
And so that's my action. I'm going to try that, and I'm going to hold myself accountable. And I just put it out in the world. I declared it.
Yeah.
I declared my truth to the world. And so I strongly encourage all of you to really grab a pen and paper and to tell yourself the truth. Write as if no one's going to read it. Go ahead. Pause the video or X out here. We're almost done. And ask yourself these questions. Go through the list. If you feel like you're stuck, ask yourself again and again and again. Because we're all just trying to find ourselves here.
Honestly, that was gorgeous. And I think it's a perfect way to end this episode. I think you said everything in the best way possible. I couldn't have imagined you saying it any better.
And sorry, one more thing. In the last episode, this is something that I wasn't being myself. When I said, you're the souls in flesh form, I didn't even continue on with my thought. I honestly lost my thought mid-sentence and I continued. Mm-hmm. But what I was really trying to say, and I'm going to correct it here because I'm being honest. Mm-hmm. What I was really trying to say in that last episode is that all the things that we embody are just suppressed. The body is so intelligent and it keeps all those emotions. It's called trapped emotions, trapped energy. And it's all stored, right? But we are the observers of these emotions. And so when you're being present and your understanding of your triggers and all of those things, a lot of that is going to arise, and you must let yourself know it's okay. It's okay that I hate this person. It's okay that I feel frustrated. It's okay that I feel like I don't know where I'm going or what I'm doing or who to like, who to not like, if I'm aggressive and whatnot. Like understanding, letting yourself feel that so that you can give your own self the love that you need, and so that you can truly understand what it's like to parent your own self. A lot of us have never understood what that feels like. Some people are blessed with great parents that have mothered and fathered them. But for those that felt like they never got that love growing up, we must give it to ourselves and then paint a new picture for ourselves. Say, right, okay, I feel this way and it's okay that I hate this person, but I want to learn to give them compassion and love. How can I turn this over? How can I reflect on what I'm doing to change that situation?
Right.
There's many things. And so ask yourself all of these questions. Really get deep with yourself, because these questions are not just for us, they're for you.
Yeah.
And so that's what I have to say.
That was awesome.
Thank you.
I heard a lot of perspectives I've never heard from you before.
Really?
Yeah. Seriously. I can tell how honest you're being right now. And I can tell how that came from your spirit, all of it. Doesn't it feel like it? Mm-hmm. It really does. I'm really proud of you.
Thank you.
That was awesome. Guys, thank you so much for being here. That was part 2 of getting to know yourself, or how well do you know yourself. We're going to be posting every Tuesday and Friday. All the information with every episode is in the description. You can find us on audio and streaming platforms. Thank you. We'll see you guys in the next episode.
Thank you, and we love you guys. Bye.